Welcome back to Online Marketing Foundations. We're still in Module 1, the Badass Online Marketing Approach. Here in Lesson 5, I wanted to touch on something that's important, which is that online marketing is just marketing online. It's an important thing, and it might seem silly, right? But I want to make clear that there's nothing like inherently unique about what we're doing as online marketers. We're just marketing, and we're happening to use the online world to do it. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this lesson. And we're going to start with the truth bomb, which is pretty self-explanatory, that online marketers didn't invent marketing. But this is what's not. And that's that we tend to actually be using techniques of marketing that traditional marketers gave up in the 1950s. Yeah, you heard that right. What most online marketers are doing, the things we're hearing, the things that are being taught in the space are marketing methods that the rest of the world said in the late 1950s, hey, this isn't the way to do it. We're going to stop doing it. And yet this is what the orthodoxy has become in the online world. So that's the truth bomb that I want you to get. And we're going to try to help you understand why we shouldn't be doing that in this world. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about kind of a brief history of marketing theory. Now, I'm not going to go too deep in it, but we're going to talk about the different theories of marketing over time. We're going to talk about the fact that online marketing tactics are outdated and why online marketing isn't really different from traditional marketing, because sometimes people will say, well, yeah, we're online, so we've got to be different. And I'm going to kind of explain why that's not actually what's happening at all. So that's what we're doing in this lesson. Let's dive in. First, we're going to start with a quick rundown of kind of the history of marketing theory. Now, look, marketing has been around for a very long time. And we should learn from traditional marketers. There's really no reason why we should say, oh, well, we don't need to think about what other folks are doing in traditional marketing. In fact, we should. We should look at what's happening. So let's take a quick tour of kind of marketing theory over time. There has been a development of what are called the concepts of marketing. And the first concept of marketing was known as the production concept. And this was based on the notion that consumers prefer cheap and widely available goods. They want stuff cheap and they want to be able to get it quickly, easily, etc. So under that theory, the focus was on increasing efficiency to make things as cheaply as possible. In other words, you wanted to be Walmart. You wanted to say, how can I make this as cheap as possible so that it's widely available and people can get it? That was the original concept of marketing. After that, kind of a new concept came about, which was called the product concept. And this is an idea that people prefer higher quality goods and services. So instead of just make it cheap, let's make it really good. Let's make higher quality. That became kind of the next concept. So under that theory, the focus was on adding functionality and quality to kind of create a better mousetrap. The problem of course, about this is, look, sometimes you don't need a better mousetrap. Like, a paperclip works just fine. I don't need an extra special, more expensive paperclip. So the product concept of marketing doesn't always work either. Then the next concept of marketing is what's called the selling concept. And this is based on the idea that when left to their own devices, people will not buy enough of your goods and services. So the focus in the selling concept is to create demand that would not otherwise exist for your product. Like the job of a marketer under this concept is to create demand so people will buy more. That was kind of the concept under the selling concept. But again, that's not the system that most marketers live in today. After the selling concept, the next concept that came about is called the marketing concept. Again, not a brilliant name, but it's based on the idea that we should do what's called sense and react to create products that actually meet existing demand. So what our focus is there is to listen to the market to understand what your customers already want. So instead of creating a product and then going and trying to find a market for it, under the marketing concept, what you do is you listen to your market and you create a product to meet that demand, to meet what they're saying they actually want. So that was this marketing concept of marketing. Now, the current concept is kind of a spin on that, and it's called the holistic marketing concept, and it adopts the sense and react model, but adds an emphasis on building relationships and taking stands on issues. So it's not just about your customers. It's about building relationships with customers, with peers, with all of the different people that you interact with, and taking stands because you as a marketer have an impact on the world at large and society at large. So you that's part of your marketing concept as well. That is the current concept of marketing. So, under this, brands focus on cultivating raving fans through connection and also affinity marketing. And what I mean by affinity marketing is things like Tom's Shoes, where they give things away. So people are like, oh, I want to contribute to that. Or Ben and Jerry's ice cream was formed, had a very social stance. And so people would decide that they wanted to do business with that company because of that stand. Or again, even when you think about brands like Costco that have taken a stand on, paying their employees well from the outset. So people will say, hey, I want to do business with that kind of company. So that's the latest model of marketing. So that's kind of our quick walk through memory lane. Now I want to go to the next piece, which is that online marketing tactics that most people are teaching are way outdated. While we may use new technology, online entrepreneurs are generally using outdated marketing methods. See, most online marketers are stuck in the selling concept of marketing, that kind of third of the 5 concepts we talked about. And that's a concept that actually kind of went out of vogue in the broader marketing world in the late 1950s. Yet that's what we're using. See, online marketers teach strategies, tactics, and gimmicks to try to create demand that doesn't exist. If you listen to most of the people teaching this, what they're saying is, hey, we've got to generate demand because otherwise people won't buy these products. I mean, that really is what they're teaching. And that is literally the definition of the selling concept of marketing. And the focus that we're largely taught in the online space is on selling rather than building relationships, sensing, and reacting. That it's not about that. It's not about, hey, why don't we figure out what the market wants and just meet that demand? It's, hey, let's sell, sell, sell. And what I'll tell you is that if you don't do that, if you instead create an irresistible product that meets an existing demand, if you kind of move just to the marketing concept, you don't have to use gimmicks. You don't have to say, oh, well, I'm going to use these things where I'm going to kind of put all of these false deadlines and all these things to generate demand. You don't have to do that if you actually create an irresistible product that meets existing demand. Now, a quick warning. If a major brand outside the online space wouldn't use a tactic that you're hearing someone teach in the online space, be cautious about using it in your online business. Now, I'm not saying you would never do it. There might be cases where you look at it and say, okay, well, this actually makes sense. And other companies aren't doing it because, they're not in the online world. But I want you to kind of approach it with a bit of caution if you look around and say, no one outside the online space is doing that, because that should just be a sign that says, other marketers aren't using this. Maybe it's not the best idea. So kind of what I like to say is, instead of selling, be like Apple. And what I mean by this is, if you think about it, an Apple store is always packed because people want to buy their products. They have products that are irresistible. Now, you may not like Apple products, but even if you don't, you know that a lot of people do. And you want to kind of have that kind of approach to your business, and then you don't have to worry about all these things. So that's kind of the general concept, but now I got to take this last piece here, that there's nothing unique about selling online or marketing online. See, right about now, you might be thinking something like this, because a lot of people will tell me this. When I present this concept to people, I get the same response, and it goes something like this. Well, selling online is different, so we have to use different techniques. Or we sell a different kind of product, so we have to use different techniques. Like people say, well, information products are just different, so we have to do that. And so there are all of these pushbacks that I get. The problem with that is, and the way I want to push back at that is with a simple question. Then why are we using outdated tactics? Now, if our products, if we had come up with this new idea, if we'd come up with something completely different and it created these different problems for marketing, wouldn't we expect that we would have evolved past the current marketing concept that most of the world is using? But instead, what we're hearing from kind of the traditional orthodoxy in the online world is an outdated concept. A concept that most of the world said about 70 years, about 60 years ago, started saying, yeah, we don't want to use that anymore. That's your first sign that this is not about us having some kind of different product. It's a sign that we're trapped in the past. See, we're selling products and services that are darn similar to lots of offline marketers. You can think of examples of things where there is kind of a direct comparison of what there's an online marketer selling and what offline marketers are selling. For example, consultants, lawyers, and doctors, they sell services, just like a social media manager or a lot of the different people in the online space. Bookstores sell info products. I mean, they sell kind of something very much like what I have right here. Of course, I'm not selling BOMU, but they sell something very much like a course. Personal trainers sell coaching. So again, I just want to point that out, that there's nothing unique about what we as online marketers are offering and selling to the world. While the marketing channel might be different, while we might be doing it online, the techniques aren't and shouldn't be. What we need to do is to adapt the holistic marketing approach slightly to fit the online marketing world, because there are slight differences. I'm not going to say that you, as maybe an individual personal brand, should sell or should market exactly like Coca-Cola. No, you should not. But we should take the concept from holistic marketing and adapt it to our world, instead of simply saying, no, we're going to live in the selling concept of marketing. That's what we need to be doing, and that's what this program is about helping you to do. See, the big takeaway I want you to take from this is that marketing has been around for a long time, and we should learn from traditional marketers. That's what we should be doing, not ignoring them. So, think like a marketer, not an online marketer, because there's no real difference. Now, in the next lesson, you'll discover how, and this is an important one, to stop sounding like an infomercial. Because if you follow a lot of what a lot of people in the online space are teaching you, you sound like kind of the worst of infomercial pitchmen. We're going to talk about how to not do that in the next lesson. I'll see you there.